Cherie says, hey Raf, thanks for the opportunity to ask you anything. I'm gaining a lot from these videos. I've had a prospective client approach me who was diagnosed with retrolisthesis throughout her entire lumbar spine, plus nerve compression between L5 and S1. Her physio or EP has been working with her for 8 weeks on a very specific plan to strengthen glutes, shoulders, core and upper back, aiming to stabilise and reduce the load on the lower back. He has also worked on all biomechanics and ergonomics, e.g. pelvic alignment. She has a brace to wear. She tapes for certain exercises. Her car seat has been changed along with her client's cot height, etc. There was no trauma. Her physio explained to her the cause being most likely gradual changes by a combination of running history and 2 pregnancies close together. I don't know much about this condition. Is there anything that can help me guide her towards the best rehab? Is there any evidence to say that treatment for this condition should be different to any other lower back condition pending no red flags? Thanks for considering my question. Hope you're doing well. Thinking of you all. Thanks, Cherie. I hope you're doing well. We're awesome. And I hope you're doing well over there. And thanks for your question. Well, retrolisthesis, let's have a look. If you have your vertebra here and your adjacent vertebra, there'd be a little facet joint in there. There, and then of course you've got your disc in there. Well, a retrolisthesis is where one vertebra, the top one slips backward or the bottom one slips forward, whichever way you want to think about it. Let's think about it like the top one slipping backward. So that's called a retro, when that one goes forwards, retrolisthesis. Retro, meaning backwards, listhesis. And so what can be the problem there is, of course, that your neural your spinal nerves go down through this area here, and they're actually not outside the vertebra like that. It's kind of a super clumsy drawing there, but they're surrounded by a canal there. And if that shifts backwards far enough, let's shift it backwards this time, eh? If that shifts backwards far enough, well, that can cause some compression. There we go. It could cause some compression, or kinking would be another way of thinking of it, of that spinal nerve. And that spinal nerve then can, send pain signals. Well, there's no such thing as a pain signal, but it can generate weird sensations, which you can interpret as pain, or it could, prevent the signal to muscles, or you could get what's called paresthesia, which is like a tingling sensation, like when your arm goes to sleep, when you sleep on it. So that's the basic plan with retrolisthesis, or that's the basic explanation of what retrolisthesis is. It's very rare from what I could gather with a Google Scholar search. And the first thing I looked up was, what's the natural history? Excuse me. So in other words, if we do nothing, what's the outcome? It turns out that retrolisthesis, the outcomes are pretty good, and particularly with paresthesia. If she has now, here's the thing. Let me back up a step. So the problem with having retrolisthesis is that potentially you can kink or irritate the spinal nerve. So if it doesn't kink or irritate the spinal nerve, it's not a problem. Like, the only problem is irritation of the spinal nerve and, pain signals down the leg or loss of muscle strength in the leg. So if there's no pain and no loss of control and no weird sensations in the leg, I would say treat her in all respects like a completely normal person and forget about the retrolisthesis and just do all over body strengthening, stretching and all those normal good things. If she does have pain in her back or /and in her leg, or weird sensations in her leg, like, tingling, numbness, heat, cold, feeling of wetness, weird sensations in the leg, that are exacerbated by certain positions, then you need to modify a little bit. So typically when you, let me get out my spine. So here are the vertebral bodies. There's the L1 or something, and there's the L2. And here is the spinal nerve that comes out in between those two. And it comes out through this hole called the neural foramen. The neural foramen is the gap in between two vertebrae where the spinal nerves exit. Now, as we bend the spine backwards, as we extend the spine, you should be able to see that the neural foramen gets smaller. Actually, this one's a bit twisted here. The neural foramen gets smaller. Can you see that the gaps where those little yellow bits of plastic come out of the spine get smaller as it bends backwards and bigger as it bends forwards? Smaller as it bends backwards, bigger as it bends forwards. So if you've got a situation where somebody already has some kind of, irritation or, reduced gap for the nerve there, and then you bend backwards, well, that could potentially, squish the nerve, irritate the nerve. And so what would happen in that situation is, when she bends backwards, she would either get symptoms in her leg, or if she already had symptoms in her leg, they would get worse. So, and that would tell you that her retrolisthesis combined with backbending is now, narrowing that neural canal or the neural foramen enough that the nerve is being impinged, bumped into, squished. And so in that case, if you backbend with her, if she backbends and she gets pain or symptoms in her leg of some kind, well, that would suggest that probably backbending is not a good plan. If she backbends a little bit and it's fine, and she backbends extreme amounts and that gives her symptoms in her leg, well, backbend a little bit, but don't backbend extreme amounts. If she can backbend with no symptoms in her leg, fine, just backbend, go for it. It means that, okay, her retrolisthesis is quite mild and not a problem. So it's only a problem if it's a problem, right? If there's no symptoms from it, it's not a problem. So, and the symptoms that you would be worried about would be, or looking out for, would be stuff down the leg, stuff into the bum, down the back of the thigh, into the calf and into the foot, any combination of that. And it could be pain, it could be burning, it could be tingling, it could be numbness, it could be loss of sensation, it could be weakness, it could any combination of sensations. If it is aggravated by backbending, that probably suggests that the retrolisthesis is significant enough that backbending is not a good idea, and you should just do normal strengthening and stretching, but just leave out the backbending. So strengthen her back, but just don't bend her backwards. But if, on the other hand, she can bend backwards without creating leg symptoms, don't worry about it. Just treat her like a normal person. Now, if she gets a bit of back pain when she bends backwards, don't worry about that. That's normal. Who doesn't get a bit of back pain when they bend backwards? I know I do. It's completely normal. Everybody feels a bit stiff in their back when they bend backwards. Well, not everybody. Maybe Cirque du Soleil acrobats don't, but pretty much everybody who's a normal human gets a bit of discomfort in their back when they bend backwards. So don't worry about that. And because remember, in retrolisthesis, what we're concerned about is the nerve being impinged. Okay. And if the nerve is impinged in the lower back, it's not going to cause pain in the lower back. It's going to cause pain in the leg. So if she's got pain in the lower back, that's fine. That's good. Not a problem. If she's got pain in the leg on back bending, or that is aggravated by back bending, leave out the back bending. Hope that helps.